logic? These are the questions that have occupied the majority of Russian population since the very beginning. This war came as a complete surprise, planned in secret, defied logic, defied reality. What does win mean is still the question in everyone's mind. In April 2022, Russia had about 19.6% of Ukrainian territory under its control. Today, it holds 19.2%. Russia's losses, however, have gone up from about 20,000 men dead and wounded to 800,000 men dead and wounded. It has not destroyed Ukrainian force. It has not forced the evacuation of Kyiv, the capital. It has not ousted the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky. If you look at the state of Russian economy, the performance of the Russian army, Putin does need time to rebuild, and he does need time to rebalance his economy. Most of all, he needs sanctions lifted. Russian inflation is running in double digits. Russian interest rate is at 21%. He really does need a pause, but he needs a pause which he can present as total victory. So his cards are not perfect, but he is betting that the opponent sitting on the other side of the table will believe him that he's got better cards. It's a poker tactic. Vladimir Putin, in entering these negotiations with Donald Trump, is betting that he can simply outlast both Ukraine and European willingness to assist it. Putin's tactic is to play Trump. What he wants is not just ceasefire, because that will leave sanctions on Russian economy, which are crippling, in place. What he is driving for is what he calls definitive resolution. He wants Ukraine to be completely neutral, not NATO-aligned, no foreign troops, limitations on Ukrainian force, limitation on how close to the border Ukraine can come. So he wants basically to hold Ukraine at bay, while this definitive resolution would allow Trump to lift sanctions and would allow Vladimir Putin to rebuild his army and rebalance his economy. Even if there is a pause, Vladimir Putin's ambition will be to finish Ukraine off, to make sure it's completely dysfunctional, unable to be integrated into the West. His ambition of driving America from Europe, which at the moment is being in a way assisted by American administration, I think remains his goal. He wants spheres of influence, he wants revision of post-1945 order, and he wants his place in history as the Russian leader who extended Russian territory and gave it back the superpower status. Donald Trump wants to deliver on his promise to end the war. Vladimir Putin, on the other hand, sees negotiations as a stage in the war, in a confrontation much more global than what's happening in Ukraine. In his mind, he is not fighting Ukraine. In his mind, he is fighting the West, and that fight will continue whatever happens in Ukraine.